everybody, and we are starting a couple of minutes late, but we will catch up. We have 3 terrific panelists today who will be talking about a breadth of topics, from breastfeeding to doulas to eating healthy and everything in between. So once I ask my questions, feel free to chime in with yours, because it's a great place to ask for free advice, and you're not going to get a doctor's bill for it. So I'm going to have the 3 of them introduce themselves. We'll start with you, Dr. Tanya.
Hear me? I'm Dr. Tanya Almann. I'm a pediatrician, founder of Calabasas Pediatrics. I'm also a mom of 3 boys, age 11, 9, and 2, and yes, still a boy after the 3rd. So I have that whole wide spread. I have a few parenting books. My latest one is called What to Feed Your Baby. And I'm just here to answer any questions that you have or anything that you want to talk about.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Jill Campbell. I am a clinical psychologist, and I am the staff psychologist and the Mommy and Me curriculum director for the pump station and nursery. And I also have 3 children, 2 stepchildren, and a daughter who's 20, and the stepchildren are even older. So nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm AJ Jonesco, and I'm the Director of Client Services at the Pump Station and Nursery, and I'm also a postpartum doula, DONA trained, as well as a newborn care specialist. Thank you. I look forward to talking with you guys today.
Great. You know what, AJ, we'll start with you. Why don't you share with people who are new to the term doula, can you talk about why you would need a doula and how you might choose one if you decided you wanted one?
Absolutely. How many people are familiar with a birth doula? Some of you. That tends to be more common known. The profession of postpartum doulas has been around for about 15 years. And basically a postpartum doula would come into your home from the time the baby comes home from the hospital and kind of support you through that journey, your transition to parenthood. There's so much new information, and there's coming from all different well-intentioned resources, but we're there to kind of help you customize your parenting plan and introduce you to some basic baby care and help you parent in the style that feels comfortable to your family. Unlike a night nurse, a doula is going to support the whole family as moms, dads, partners, babies, dogs, other siblings. We're kind of there for the whole transition, and we support you with nutritional needs and comfort, things that help a recovering mom feel more comfortable. And then we're also helping get to know your baby, so that instead of guessing, we're helping you figure out cues and any potential challenges that might come up. We're right there to kind of guide you through that journey.
And they're wonderful. It makes my job so much easier when there's a postpartum doula in the house.
We love working with the doc.
I don't get as many calls from moms with questions. So it's a great resource.
Absolutely. In addition to your pediatrician, your doula is not trained to diagnose anything, but she's going to work in tandem in the ideal situation with your doctor and your family members. So we also do lactation support so that we can hopefully get things started off on the right foot.
Now, Jill, talk to us a little bit. I mean, one of the roles of a doula is to almost have a partner in the birth. Talk about the role that you see a partner playing in terms of postpartum success, depression, and success with a new baby.
Well, I mean, your partner is in this with you. It's, I guess in my Mommy and Me classes, sometimes what comes up are moms will say, oh, I'm so stressed out, I can't wait for my husband to come home and babysit, and I always say, well, if your husband's coming home, he's not babysitting, it's his baby, he's parenting. So I'm not really sure what you're asking.
Oh, really? Oh. So the question is the role of a partner in success after having a baby. So Tanya, maybe you want to take the question.
Sure. So I mean, I think although plenty of parents now have a baby on their own, it usually takes a village. So you need help. You need another set of hands. So whether it's a spouse or a partner or a postpartum doula, or a friend. I have a friend who's a single mom, and she moved near her mom so she could have help. As Dr. Karp was saying, you used to have all these extra hands and people around to support, and so it's really challenging to do it alone. Not that you can't do it alone. It often takes everybody coming together.
Right, of course. And I mean, one of the things that I think is really important for partners to know, as well as just for moms to know, is that having a baby, everybody is so excited, and there's this sense of joy and celebration, and this is going to be wonderful. But it's a huge transition, and I think that's a bit of what Tanya was saying. And with every transition, there is an element of loss involved. Whenever you go from one thing to another, you go through a period of some loss, because you're letting go of this life you had before, and you're starting this whole new life. And so what's really important for partners to know and be aware of, as well as for new moms to be aware of, is that you're going to have emotional ups and downs. There's going to be time to adjust, and there are going to be moments where even though you love your baby, you're going to be like, what did I get myself into, and can I handle this? And I think that's one of the things that I want parents to know so strongly going into this, that that is really normal. Because a lot of times we have this idealized image of this perfect parent that we want to be, and then the reality of what it's like at the beginning especially is nowhere near that perfect image. And sometimes we're afraid to acknowledge that because we think that people will think we're not doing a good job. We'll be judged. I think especially in the United States, there's a sense of we do everything independently. We can do everything on our own. And so it's really important to reach out to your community doulas and your pediatrician, and also to meet other new parents, taking mommy, daddy, and me classes, mommy and me classes, reaching out to mommy meetups, and getting your community going so that you have other people who will normalize for you just sort of what a crazy year this is going to be, and that you feel supported.
That's such a great point, that the village is so critical, and figuring out who that village is. I always say, even as your kids get older, finding 2 moms you can count on at every stage, whether it's starting preschool, just whatever grade your kids are in, having those 2 moms. They don't have to be your best friends, but parents that you can count on to do a pickup or to give you advice and say, is this normal? I'm having this issue with breastfeeding, is so critical. Can you talk a little bit about breastfeeding and why breastfeeding is considered so important, and also sort of success tactics for breastfeeding, as some women struggle in the beginning? And
Sure. So, what's interesting is that, years ago, as Harvey mentioned, moms would see other moms in the community breastfeeding. But now there's so many pregnant moms that have never actually watched anyone breastfeed. So if you haven't, it's a good idea to go on YouTube or online, watch it. I know it sounds silly. And then take some prenatal classes. At the pump station, they have prenatal breastfeeding classes, so you can kind of learn about it ahead of time, so it's not a totally new experience. And then, when your baby comes, even though breastfeeding is natural, not all babies are born experts. And although sometimes they can latch on right away and you'll do great, other times you need help, and that's okay. You can feel free to reach out to a doula, a lactation consultant at the pump station. Ask your pediatrician for resources. There's nothing wrong with it. And often when I have moms come into my office a few days after the baby's born, they might be kind of a little nervous. I'm like, well, let me see your latch. Let me help you with this. And then when they come back at a month of age, they're like, here, you want to see? So it's just something you have to kind of get comfortable with and used to. But it's amazing. It's really, best nutrition for your baby, great for bonding, and there's so many benefits.
And I just want to add is expect to have a ton of questions, because you can't even imagine beforehand, questions like, well, is it okay if I switch boobs between feeding, on one side and then the other, or can I go to just one side and not the other? And what, how do I pump and feed my baby? And there's just so many questions, and we think, we take a breastfeeding class, which is so important, but we think, okay, I've got it, I'm good to go. And then you're there and all the questions come up. So having that resource.
And the questions change along the journey. Just when you think you figure it out with the first couple of days of breastfeeding, your colostrum becomes breast milk, and oftentimes that changes the journey and the feeding pace and other things too. So absolutely know ahead of time what a deep latch is, so that you can strive to get that. That's my probably biggest
With
tips
fish
to
lips.
success. Yes, the fish lips where your lips are flanged. If you've seen some breastfeeding and looking ahead of time and planning ahead, my favorite video, long before I ever worked with the pump station, I referred my clients to a video that Corky Harvey actually has online with Fit Pregnancy, and it's called Deep Latch with Corky Harvey. And it does an excellent job of showing multiple families, multiple moms breastfeeding. And the idea of a deep latch is sort of a two-prong approach where you go from the bottom lip to the top lip. And it's a very complicated thing if you've never seen it and you're trying to do it and look down and hold your baby's head and twist here and keep your pillow on your lap and do all these things at once. So definitely think about it ahead of time. Watch some people, ask your friends. Definitely. I saw a mom today that was walking around with I think a 1-month-old, or maybe even younger, just very openly and comfortably doing it. That's fantastic, but that might not happen with your first kid. Give yourself some room, and the best thing you can do while you breastfeed is relax and know that it's going to be questions, it's going to be a little bit of a journey, but don't expect it. It's very natural and wonderful, but it's not always easy. So don't be too hard on yourself.
And even when you're breastfeeding, since we talked about partners earlier, I see a lot of moms that initially they kind of want to do everything. They're breastfeeding the baby, and they often don't let their partner or spouse really get as involved. And then what happens is the moms either go back to work or they get tired, and the dads come in, they're like, I don't really know how to hold this baby because I haven't done a lot for 2 months. So from day one, get everybody else involved. Maybe they can burp the baby, maybe they can change the diaper, maybe they can bring baby to you. I always tell my breastfeeding moms, your job is to lay in bed all night, and your partner is going to take the baby from you and burp and swaddle and put in the bassinet and bring the baby to you.
And if your partner won't get a doula, she will.
Right. And that is so key with sleep, because a lot of times when moms are breastfeeding, first couple of months, not forever, but the first couple of months, the baby is going to wake up several times during the night and need to be fed. And if each time the mom is the one getting up and changing their diaper and getting out of bed and sitting and, and feeding their baby, mom's going to be absolutely exhausted. And so a lot of times in our Mommy and Me classes, the moms are like, well, yeah, but dad can't feed the baby. But dad can be the one to change the diaper, take the baby out of the bassinet, bring the baby to mom, take the baby back and put the baby back in the bassinet. And then mom could lie in bed and be kind of quasi-awake and go right back to sleep for a few of those feedings. And it makes a huge difference in stretching out that sleep for a parent, because when you're sleep deprived, your immune system, your moods, everything is affected, and your ability to cope and manage things goes way down. So having that makes a huge difference.
I think that's such a great point, which is in the beginning, find an excuse for your partner to be alone with the baby from the very beginning, whether it's even just a couple of hours, because if they start out 500 diapers behind, they'll never catch up and never be equals in the parenting department. Tanya, can you share with us, you see so many new families, what's kind of the biggest thing that if you could wave a magic wand and give one gift to a new parent, what would it be?
Oh, wow, that's a tough one. Can I add more hours to the day? To get everything done. I think having help at home, maybe I would give them a doula, a postpartum doula in their house, because an extra set of hands can really make a difference. I was talking the other day, I have a new mom who's going through a little bit of postpartum. She had a history before, so we were really keeping an eye on it. And the dad's helping out a lot at night, and they came in and I could tell that he was really exhausted too. And so I talked to them about, maybe getting some help at night, and he actually said, you know what? I want to do this at night. What I don't want to do is the dishes during the day and the laundry during the day. And so can you help me find someone during the day to do that stuff? So we went and looked for a housekeeper. And therefore, everybody got a little help, and they were able to, do what they needed to do as a family to be able to survive that first month. And things do get better. The breastfeeding gets better. The nighttime feeds space out. You can start pumping around 2, 3, 4 weeks. And that's another important thing is if you want to introduce a bottle, you can still exclusively breastfeed and feed your baby with a bottle. But you want to start pumping and giving a bottle once a day before the end of the first month. Otherwise, the baby might not take to it. And I have plenty of moms. I have top surgeons at UCLA even, who they breastfeed for 4 months, they go back to work, and the baby won't take a bottle. And then the baby doesn't drink or eat all day long. And then they come home from work and the baby wants to nurse all night long, right? Because we know that at 4 months they can go 12 hours without eating. And then they're in that vicious cycle. So if you can start having other people feed your baby as early as possible, even with your own breast milk, it'll just help make your life more flexible so you can sleep more and get back to whatever you also, want to do to live your own life and take care of yourself.
Yeah, and just to add to that, because this comes up a lot in my classes too, is if you introduce a bottle and then you might have like a long weekend or a little vacation and you're like, you know what, I'm home right now, I don't have to pump, so I just won't. And 3 or 4 days go by where you're not giving that 1 bottle a day, and then you go back to it and baby's like, I changed my mind. I haven't had the bottle for a few days. So it is a little tool is to, even if you can give at least that one pumped bottle a day, if you're going to need to give the bottle when you're back at work.
Yes.
And Tanya, you wrote a book that just recently came out about feeding your baby, and I thought you could share with us a little wisdom on once you transition to solid foods, how that all works.
Sure. So I don't know how many of you were here before, and I think, Dr. Alan Green had a lot of amazing points. And, a lot of it is similar. Our goal now is to really get all the healthy foods and flavors in early. So years ago, we used to say, don't give eggs, don't give nuts, don't give fish, all the big 8, the allergic foods. But now we know that, guess what? We were wrong as pediatricians, and we probably created a lot of the food allergies that we have in this country. So what I like to do now is, starting around 6 months of age, when your baby is ready, really get everything in early. And I have a list of what I call the 11 essential foundation foods in my book that you want to get babies used to eating on a regular basis, like the green vegetables and the salmon and the lentils that we talked about earlier. And get everything in, because this is where their taste buds are maturing and they're learning how to eat a variety of healthy things. Not to mention that all of these things also have really important nutritional value, at that age. But if you want to, avoid creating a chicken nugget eater, as you mentioned, which is something I talk about in the book, when they're 4 and they only eat chicken nuggets, you can take them back, but it's challenging. So you can avoid that by just getting everything in early. As long as it's in a form that your child can handle, there's really nothing that you can't give under age 1 other than honey, and then anything that's a potential choking hazard.
And what about traveling with a baby? Can any of you talk about that? So many new parents are afraid to get on an airplane or take a trip. And then there's the other philosophy of the sooner you do it, the better it is in terms of getting them used to that. How is it?
Well, before they're walking and running up and down the aisles, it's often much easier to fly and travel with a baby. So it might depend on the baby's age and, if they're fully vaccinated and what time of year it is. If it's in the middle of like flu season and there was a measles outbreak, like when I had my 3rd one, and I thought I was going to take him everywhere, I decided to stay home for a little while. But usually we do. I think it's great to go places, to travel, to see relatives. I traveled with all my boys when they were around 2 or 3 months of age. After I had my 2nd was when I was regularly on the Today Show, and I would fly once a month out there, and I pumped on the plane. I pumped at Meredith Vieira's office. And so I talked to all my moms about how you can totally travel and store breast milk. If you're international, you can even FedEx it back. So you just want to, ask people who have done it before to get all the supplies that you need, because it's not a lot and you don't have to spend a lot of money, but you want to make sure you take everything with you and you know how to go through TSA with your frozen ice bags, because if they're thawed out, they're going to make you leave them behind.
Now, and this is something, AJ, you might be able to share with us. How can a new parent and a soon-to-be parent relax? Because we all know that's better for our health, for baby's health. What are the tricks for that?
That's a great question, and it's something that I wish I had a magic answer for. Maybe you ladies can help. I think for me, it's knowing yourself and knowing what kind of personality you are and what makes your family tick. If you're a type A person and you need to plan and be organized, take the time to do it. Make your travel list. Find out, which stroller you're going to take, and when you get there, what you're going to need, and all those kind of anticipation kind of things when you're traveling. But just when you're home and around your environment, think about it ahead of time. When you bring that baby home, you might not want a house full of people if that doesn't relax you. If you're the kind of person that always has to have a nice hors d'oeuvre and offer wine and stuff, that's not the time for it. So really think about your lifestyle and what works for you and what calms you, what relaxes you. If it's a certain kind of music, play it all day. Whatever it is that really takes you to your happy place, plan on incorporating your new baby into that.
I love that. And also, I think one of the things that can be really calming and centering is really just focusing on your breath and on your body. And when you have a baby and they're crying or screaming and you're not sure what's wrong, we usually go outward, like, okay, what do I do? And we run through a million questions in our head. And that just raises our anxiety level, and then our baby picks up on our anxiety level and tends to cry more.
Absolutely.
And when we could, that old philosophy of you have to put the air mask on yourself before you put it on your child, when you're in those situations, really the best thing to do is go, am I breathing? Let me breathe. Okay, am I holding tension in my body? If so, let me consciously try to move my jaw or stretch or walk back and forth for a minute, breathe again. And once you calm, then you're going to come up with what's going on with your baby so much more easily, and your baby's going to pick up on that energy. Easy thing for me to say, not an easy thing to do, but it really is a practice. And if you just kind of have in your head that mantra of just breathe, just breathe, just breathe, that to me is probably one of my biggest tools for remaining calm.
That's an excellent
And not
one.
only breathing, you want to make sure that you're eating regularly and you're drinking plenty of fluids, especially if you're breastfeeding. You can set up stations all around your house with everything that you sort of need in your relaxing spaces, in your nursing stations. That way it's all there, so you don't have to think like, oh, I forgot to grab the water. Oh, I forgot to grab let's say I relaxed by reading a magazine, or whatever it is. Set up little stations around your house to sort of have all those things that you need to take care of yourself, because then you can better care for baby.
That's great. And now I just want to make sure that you all have a chance to ask AJ and Jill and Tanya any questions you have. It's free. Excellent advice. Yes.
So I think that's a really personal decision, and it might depend on who you talk to. The American Academy of Pediatrics does not really have a stance on that. They say, it's based on your religion, your beliefs, what you want to do. So there can be some benefits, but you can also prevent those things by doing other ways. So I think, talk to your pediatrician, talk to your OB, but you have to decide that on your own.
Nutrition-wise, is there a difference between breastfeeding directly and pumping?
So it's the same exact milk that you're either breastfeeding or you're putting in a bottle and giving to your baby. It's still your breast milk, so it's still just as nutritious. And even breast milk can be refrigerated. It can be frozen, depending if you have a really good freezer. You can even freeze it up to a year, and it still has all the same antibodies and nutrition. So no, I think that's perfectly fine. If the latch doesn't necessarily work out for you, despite all of the help that you've had from your doulas and your lactation consultants at the pump station, I do have some moms who choose to just pump and feed their baby breast milk in a bottle. I think, I usually talk to my moms and I say, what's your goal? How long do you plan on breastfeeding? And, we can help you reach that goal. And some even go beyond because they don't realize how amazing it is for them. And other moms might need a little extra. I mean, it's always good to have an emergency kit at home, just in case. What if you're stuck out and you get a flat tire and you can't get home in time? But I think, again, it depends on, what your goals are, and that you have a team set up around you of, pediatrician, lactation consultant, doula, partner who can help you, get to your goal. And as much breast milk as you can provide your baby, I think is great, but I never want to make moms feel guilty.
And we probably have room for one last question. Yes.
I'll take that one if you want. 9-month-old, you said? Okay, so once a baby is 9 months old, they really don't need to eat during the night, in the middle of the night. although sometimes they do just because they're used to eating during the night, so out of habit, their systems wake up and want to be fed. So one way to do it is just to slowly wean them off of that feeding. So if they're waking up 1 or 2 times during the night, you sort of pick 1 or 2 times where you're going to, usually the first night I say to time the feeding, or if you're giving them a bottle to see like about how many ounces they take. And then each night after that, you're going to give them a little bit less. So if you're breastfeeding, maybe you'd feed for like a minute less. If you're giving a bottle, you might give like half an ounce less or an ounce less. And you do that each night until you've weaned your baby off. So this way, baby doesn't wake up hungry out of habit, but their body slowly gets used to not needing that feeding, and then those calories get moved to the day. A baby will naturally make up for it during the day.
All right, thank you all so much. This has been so great. Thanks for all of your wisdom. And now we are shifting to the giveaway portion of the evening, and Tanya is going to be announcing the winners. The first is an Up-A-Baby G Lux stroller. It's beautiful. It's right here. Wow. And we really appreciate it when you win if you get very excited and loud.
Okay, here we have 2, 7, 6, 2, 1, 4.
Woo! Yay.
Do you guys want to take a turn also?
Then we have an Ergo prize pack.
Two, 7, 6, 2, 1, 8.
Yay! And we have another Ergo prize pack.
Shake it good.
You ready? 2, 7, 6, 2, 1, 1.
Yay!
Congrats.
And these are all really amazing prizes that you guys got. All my patients love all of these items. They're very useful.
Another Ergo baby prize pack.
Oh, sure. Okay. I love Ergo. 2, 7, 6, 2, 4, 6.
Yeah, right.
Yay! And finally, second to last, another Ergo baby prize pack. Last one.
Ergo is so generous tonight.
Yeah.
We have 2, 7, 6, 2, 1, 7.
All right.
Yay! Woo! And finally, I just came out with a new book, which is on how to balance your professional and personal life. It's called The Pie Life, a guilt-free recipe for success and satisfaction.
And it's a great book.
2, 7, 6, 2, 4, 5. All right. Congrats.
Thank you all so much, and thanks to our great panelists. Thank you.